Hello, my name is Weston Hacker, and I work for High Point Networks up in North Dakota, and I'm going to show you guys how to stop gas skimmers, or gas credit card skimmers. So I do pen testing and vulnerability assessments, and then I also do security research, and this is part of my security research that I'm working on this year. A couple weeks ago, one of my buddies sent me on LinkedIn a link that showed that there was a bunch of credit card skimmers that were being put in gas pumps in Fargo, North Dakota. So it led me to the idea that I was playing around with card injection before, why not do it again? So here I have a couple devices that I'm going to go over in a little bit of detail here. And I'm going to first off start with this right here is the current version of, I'm sure evidence lockers are just full of these things. These are the newer versions. There's two serial inputs, so it's actually intercepting serial traffic from this one's plugged into the motherboard, and this one's actually plugged into the portion on the card reader. So it's actually sending information from the card reader through, being captured and stored in this device, and it has about 256 megabytes, so that's quite a bit of raw data if you're just storing text. And then this part gets plugged inline. So this is running inline, so it's all processing. There's no way to tell that the cards are being skimmed. And this is the older version. This works on the 2008 or older ATMs, or gas pumps. So this one is been around for a while. This one you have to manually collect. This is about 2.5 megabytes of actual storage internally, so it's not as many credit cards. And that's something where, yeah, I'm going to go into a little bit of detail of how to actually stop some of these methods. So, and this right here is your average mag strip skimmer. So this reads card data as it's passed through to the real mag strip reader, and this is a magnetic head that reads credit card information. And these are also used inside ATMs. These aren't used as much in ATMs. They do appear in point-of-sale systems sometimes, but other than that, this is what the bad guys are using. Evidence lockers are just full of these things. So here is the first method, which is, it's a little 88-cent device. This is breadboarded out right now. This isn't the actual working model. This is just staged to show you what you need, pretty much. And I don't have, it works on RS-232, which is a serial data, which is the interfaces that these guys work on. So basically this is a RS-232 adapter, and then it has transistors that actually amplify the signal and then create a loop. So it's when a credit card is scanned and it's fed through the device, it'll actually loop that credit card information pretty much until the person's done filling gas. And it works off of the remote wire, or you can actually hook it up straight up to the power or the ground. So once it detects that the actual mag strip reader is being read, it'll actually record the first credit card information, and it'll loop it through the device. And as it's being looped through, this device is picking it up every time it's been looped. And I can loop it untimed about 60, 70 times before it actually starts just spewing garbage. And then once the remote signal ends, it'll actually stop injecting the repeated data, so it'll clear itself out. And like I said, it's about 88 cents to build one of those, and that's affordable for every single gas station. And they have inspectors that just go around and inspect these things. They could easily throw these in line and have actual application data for that. So, and the next method is this is a microcontroller. I've loved these things. I've been putting them in fake phones on pen tests, and this one actually does the exact same thing that this one does, except for this is a $6 version. And I actually had some software that I did a talk on last year at DEF CON about, that actually injects fake track 1 and 2 and 3 data and a randomly generated name. So this one's able to inject numbers from an actual list, so you can have a pretty sizable list. This one doesn't have as much memory as some of the Tinsy 3.0, or this one's a 3.1. This one you can store a lot of information in, and some of the other ones you aren't able to store as much information, or they don't have enough CPU utilization to actually generate them in-house. That's where you can start generating them if you have a more powerful device. You could be generating random credit card data or looping credit card data from an actual source to your other gas pumps. So that's one of the methods. This one not only dumps from its list, but it'll actually loop its own lists also, and that's in random. So yeah, and basically you can do it on pretty much all of these devices. These ones are static list only. You can get into some random generation with credit card data on the working port that I have for SkimBad, which I'll be releasing on GitHub. And you guys can play around with it yourselves. It's if you have any bus pirates or anything else to actually start listening to serial data, it's pretty simple to do. and you could start fuzzing these devices yourself. And we have, so that method works on these kind of skimmers. And how it attacks and actually utilizes these skimmers is basically, as that credit card data, they're meant to capture maybe 80 credit cards a day, and then the actual criminal comes and buys it, or they'll come and pick their device up later on that week. And it's something where, after 80 credit cards is a pretty good haul for a person, they start putting them into actual cards. So what these devices do is they'll actually fill up the memory. This one, it does in about, I think it's about 6 minutes. It'll actually fill up the actual memory inside of this one, which was 2.5 megabytes. So that's something with some of the larger ones. Even though this one has the possibility to have a GSM card put in it and stuff like that, where they could actually be sending them in real time, this one only has 256 megabytes of memory, so it takes about 4 hours to fill this one. But they have to actually manually pick this one up, and then they have to drive into Zone, and then they have to connect with wireless 2.4 gigahertz on this one and retrieve their data that way. So that's something where it's actually filling the data, or filling the memory up on these skimming devices. And that's something that is pretty awesome, and it actually stops both of the, quite literally, most of the details you can check. This is mostly what law enforcement is finding. These are the skimmers that your average meth addict uses. So it's something where, yeah, these devices, they can actually inject, these devices can actually inject into these devices, filling their memory up. And that doesn't cover the actual mag strip data, though. So there's skimmers. Some of the actual skimmers that I have for this can get up to 2 gigabytes. So that's a lot of credit card data. And that's where this kind of device comes into play. Sammy Camcar did a really good talk, or actually YouTube video of how to build this. This is a mag spoofer. And this one basically has a full port of SkimBat on it. And, this one's made with it has a cellular battery right now. This is a portable version. And this is what I've been using to do my local brute forcing research that I've been doing. But this one can also basically inject credit card data using EM fields. So you put this device by, or in the actual ATM, or not ATM. You can either put it inside of an ATM machine or an actual gas pump, and it'll inject straight into the magnetic head readers. But yeah, the actual magnetic head readers aren't on all the time at the gas pump, only when there's a transaction going on. So that's something that the skimmers are always listening. So that's why this actual attack works, is because those skimmers are always on. And if you want any more details about how to build these, like I said, I'm going to be releasing all of this openly on GitHub. Most likely it'll be sometime this summer. Definitely, add likes and add me on Twitter, and I'll keep you guys filled in on some of this research. I'm very busy at work, as I'm sure most of you are, so I just want to thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the details underneath the video, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And I will actually be posting a video of how the raw data looks on the injection method. So let me know if you have any questions, and thanks again for viewing. Here's the actual demo of the injected and looped serial data. So I'm going to open up a notepad here, and I'll see. We were using a prolific interface that is attached to a serial card reader. So once the actual card's read, it's going to actually loop the data, and it'll play it for probably close to a minute. I think it's anywhere from 60 to 80 seconds, depending on the strength of the actual device that's connected. So, and as you can see, yeah, there we go. So after I swipe the card, it's actually looping it, and it's filling. So pretty much the initial process starts off slow so that the actual transaction go through, and then it just starts injecting and looping the data faster and faster. And the only thing that is actually still reading this, it's not the actual card reader being passed on to the processor, it's the actual skimmer, its memory is being filled up at this time. And I should be stopping here pretty soon. So once it's actually finished, it'll actually do this exact same thing for the next transaction. And let's see here, this one's going a little bit. So it's got a little bit of serial. There we go. So after this is done, I'm gonna save it and see how big the file is. Let's save it as demo 2. There we go. And yeah, I'll actually show you the file size here. So just with about a minute of minute of injection, it got up to about, yeah, as you can see, it's about 88 kilobytes on disk, so that's pretty awesome.